Hey, on that straight gate, man. Hey, trying to find peace in a world full of darkness. That is the hardest. Wise like a serpent, but like a dove harmless. Watching with sharpness. Everywhere I look, I see the devil's incarnate. With spiritual varnish, trying to hide the fact that they mock and heartless, heart-hardened with the hardness. Rukaka does your harness, feeling like a Spartan, kicking up the heartless from wicked or departed. Body's a temple, turned to a fortress, purge out the evil like catharsis, lift the old me like a carcass. Cause his sin blotted him like scarlet, feeling like David, I'm a harpist. Now my new French garment are tarnished. The straight gate I started, blessed with this gift. Now my flow cold as the Arctic, but stay grounded like a carpet. Weeds of pride can't even get started. In my mind, that's a garden. Gotta pluck them out or get sorted. Not tried by Judah, but I'm straight lion-hearted. Can't bring back to life that wickedness I aborted. Most can't even begin to understand this path I'm on. It's just not for them. Narrow's the path that leads to life, and few there be that find it. Broad is the path that leads to destruction, and many there be that go in there at. Just trying to let my light shine. Now they looking at me like I ain't in my right mind. Signs of the end times. They all be drunk, sipping on Babylon wine. Damn, man, they love it. Put nothing above it, that is they idols, so they my rivals. We contend with the wicked while keeping it tribal. You'll be held liable for sins you committing won't be justifiable. Come back to the Bible. I'm calling you Jacob, come back to the Bible. But y'all don't want to hear that. I can see y'all really fear that. You trying to stay clear that. Don't even want to believe the fact that you chosen. End time prophecy unfolding while the word molding. All of it's chosen, repentance is closing. Come back to the Bible, Jacob, I'm hoping for you. If you walk this path, there's no one before you. Keep laws in faith to the Most High, you'll floor you forever. The entrance to the kingdom is straight and narrow, set in a dangerous place. Like there's fire on the one side and deep water on the other. So small that only one man can go at a time. It's easy to fall, man.
The spirit bears witness of you devils. Heathens all around, but I'ma hold it down to the 12 gates to make it from the ghettos. Rags to riches, slaves to kings and wearing crowns. First you gotta make it to the straight gate. That life of sin you must vacate. Many are called, but few of them chosen. We doing the works for his name's sake. I plant the seed, you can water it. Look at the fruits that Yahweh brought out of it. I was a heathen and proud of it. Till he uprooted my life, I grew out of it. I open Bible up every day. Speak to my people to elevate. They believe there's one heaven gate. Narrow the path you must navigate. We in the loss of identity, but the Bible is our remedy. I raise my hand to the heavenly, knowing that he will never be forgetting me. Humble myself in sincerity, worshipping idols the enemy. Don't you know he is the Alpha, Omega, beginning and end? You must be out your mind. Are you Kennedy? Are you kidding me?
Hey, shalom, shalom,
Shalom, shalom.
shalom, everybody. So first off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So today we're going to do a hopefully edifying lesson on fasting, right? So how to fast, some reasons to fast, and hopefully it'll help out at least a few brothers or sisters that I know were asking about it, right? 144K reloaded. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. So I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna try and pull up an article real quick first, just to show. Hopefully it'll load, right? Just to show y'all the, I guess, scientific benefits of fasting, right? And if you want to go ahead and get Sirach 34, 23 through 26.
Go.
Oh, Kashal, while I do that. So let me see how many people are in here. It says 7 people are in here. Keisha, Sammy, Shalom, Shalom. So out of you 7 people that are in here right now, have any of y'all ever fasted before? Let me ask y'all that. And what was y'all's experience with it? Right, because I know there's a lot of people basically kind of new to the truth that haven't really fasted before, and this will be a good edifying lesson for y'all, most high willing, like I said, because fasting is a very important part of our walk. It really teaches you how to concentrate on something or to give up something to concentrate on something more important, right? So man, this is taking a while to load. I'm probably just gonna pull it up on my phone and I'll read it from there, right? So Akeisha Sammy says, yes, I do a lot of fasting. That's good. All praise to the Most High. Yes, I'm currently doing intermittent fasting. So 23 hours to 1 hour fast. So do you mean you fast for 23 hours? Is that what you mean? And then 1 hour you eat? Or is it the opposite? Within the fast, I do get a lot of fight. So temptation is always going to arise, especially during the fasting, which we're going to go over as well, right? But going along with what the brother said, where is it? Intermittent fasting, right? Intermittent fasting, I would recommend for people if you haven't really fasted before. I probably do intermittent fasting more often than any other type of fasting because you can do it every single day if you want to. And as a matter of fact, when I was doing MMA like consistently, there was a dude that was there. He was like a personal trainer. He would train with me and stuff. And one of the ways to lose fat and keep muscle on was intermittent fasting. But we would do 8 hours. So 8 hours eating and then 16 not eating. Right. And that's actually a really healthy, if you look at the benefits of just that, it's very beneficial as well. Right. But let's go ahead and we'll read a couple scriptures and then I'll try and pull up that article. My computer's going real slow right now and I don't want it to kick me out like it did the last time, right? So before you fast, you need to make sure that you're in the right spirit to fast, right? You need to make sure you're going to do it for the right reasons, etc. So we're going to start with Sirach, the 34th chapter.
This is Sirach 34 and 24. And one prayeth, and another curseth. Whose voice will the Lord hear?
Right. So if you go to 1 Peter, I believe the 3rd chapter, it says that you're supposed to be heirs together of eternal life with your husband and wife, right? And it says you're supposed to be of one mind. And it says, lest your prayers be hindered. Okay? So you have to understand when you become one flesh, if one's cursing and one's praying, who's the Most High going to hear? Right? Keep going.
He that washeth himself after the touching of a dead body, if he touch it again, what availeth his washing?
So if you touch a dead body, you're unclean, right? And you wash yourself and you become clean again, and then you go touch it again. What was the point of becoming clean? Right? Same thing with, like, say, eating pork. Let's say you eat pork on accident, and then you wait till even, and then at even you're clean, but then a few minutes later you eat it again. What was the point? What was the point of washing? Right? Go ahead.
So is it with a man that fasteth for his sins and goeth again and doeth the same? Who will hear his prayer? Or what doth his humbling profit him?
So just like if you're praying and another cursing, just like if you touch a dead body and then you're clean again and you do it again, or just like if you eat pork and you become clean again, but then you go eat pork again, right? It's basically saying, what was the point of it? So is it with a man that fasts for his sins and goeth again and do it the same, right? So sometimes, and this is why I'm saying, before you even fast, you got to make sure you're in the right spirit to fast, because as we're gonna see, I think I wrote down about probably about 10 different reasons in the word why people fasted, right? One of the reasons is for your sins. If you know, oh, I committed this sin, I've been doing this, and I really want to fast, I want to get that spirit off of me, I want to fast so the Most High will show mercy on me. You have to know that after you fast, you can't just go back and be committing the same sins, right? It says, who will hear his prayer, and what does his humbling profit him? It's just like me and you have talked about before, like if somebody gets baptized, if we baptize a homosexual today, and now he's clean, right? And then tonight or tomorrow he goes and does some homosexual acts again, then what was the point of getting baptized in the first place, right? So if you give me Matthew 6:16 through 18. Matthew 6:16 through 18. So we're just going to go over these real quick just to make sure you need to be in the right spirit before you even start fasting, right? So the brother said 23 hours fasting and 1 hour window to eat. So that's a cool little intermittent fasting. I've never really heard anybody doing it like that, but everybody's different, right? And it's something I would definitely pray about for the Most High to put on your spirit. We're gonna look at a few different ways that they fasted in the Word, but again, before I even get into the whole like do it for this long and that type of thing, let me say first that there is a different way of doing it for each person, simply because we're all at different health levels, right? We all have different issues and things like that. One person may be able to fast different than another person. And when I first came into the truth, as a matter of fact, the first year, I think it was about 4 years ago, because the first year I came into the truth, we didn't keep Day of Atonement. But about 4 years ago, I was watching a video from Priest Zabak on Day of Atonement, and he said there was an elderly Israelite woman, and she fasted on Day of Atonement because they told her she needed to fast, and she ended up passing away. So we know that that's of the Most High, right? 1 Samuel 2:6 says the Most High kills and makes alive. But the point is, you need to be vigilant and be what's the word I'm looking for? Be like, don't try and do more than you can handle, right? So go ahead and read. Be practical. That's the word I was looking for. Be practical. If you've never fasted in your life before, don't think you're gonna go do a 72-hour fast your first time, right? It's not gonna work out good for you. If you got health issues, don't try and do a whole 48, maybe even 24-hour fast. Start slow. Start maybe 8 hours and eat. Maybe try 12 hours. Work your way up to 24. So go ahead, Art.
This is Matthew chapter 6:16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
So this is Yahusha, and he said, when you fast, don't be like a hypocrite of a sad countenance. Don't be showing like, oh man, right? For they disfigure their faces, right? They make their faces like to show that they're fasting, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward, right? So they want to be seen of men. They want people to know that they're fasting, and therefore that is their reward. People are going to see them and be like, oh man, he's fasting. He's so righteous. Look at him. He's disfiguring his face. He can't even stand it. He's fasting so good, right? So that is their reward. And if you read up in the chapter, it actually talks about when you're praying, it says also not to pray in public because they're just praying to be seen, right? So it goes right along with that. Go ahead.
But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face.
So when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face. So I've heard certain brothers say that when you fast and stuff, you shouldn't even shower and things of that nature. But that's not what Yahusha is saying, right? Yahusha is saying to wash your face, right? Be clean. It doesn't matter if the only time that you shouldn't so if we go to Leviticus, let me get the exact verse. I didn't write that one down. You can get Leviticus 23 and let me see. Bear with me. Leviticus 23 and 26 through 32, actually 26 through 32. So that's dealing with the Day of Atonement. So I've heard brothers say also like you shouldn't brush your teeth and things of that nature because you might accidentally swallow some water, stuff like that. I mean, I would say if you're fasting, brush your teeth, do it carefully. But on Day of Atonement, to be honest with you, we don't, right? You don't want to break Day of Atonement even if it's on accident or something like that. Frosty says, I fasted, but I keep having wicked, blasphemous thoughts towards the Most High. I hate them. Will my fast be honored or no? So we'll get into that in just a second, actually. I was going to talk about that later on, but after we get this Day of Atonement, we'll talk about that, right? Because you're going to be attacked, and that's something you need to be prepared for, right? And I'll tell you how to deal with it and things like that in just a second. Okay, whenever you're ready,
All right, this is Leviticus 23 and 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
So on the 10th day of the 7th month, which actually I was just looking at the calendar earlier, it's coming up in about two or 3 months. I'll get the exact date in a little bit. But on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement, right? A day of atonement. Let me get the definition for y'all of atonement. I would pull it up in the blue letter, but I don't want it to slow down. It says a reparation for a wrong, the reconciliation, another I'm gonna read all three of the definitions. Reparation for a wrong or injury, reparation or expiation for sin, the reconciliation of God and humankind through Jesus Christ, right? Atonement. So basically it's saying you're making up for something, right? And what are we making up for on the Day of Atonement? Our sins, right? So everybody, if you haven't kept the Day of Atonement, I would sincerely suggest that you do keep it this year, because you never know if this could be the last Day of Atonement you get to keep, right? We never know. So you shall afflict your souls, right? It shall be a holy convocation unto you. So a holy convocation, coming together of believers, studying the word, even praying, right? If you have someone to do that with, even if it's just your household or brothers or sisters in your area. And if you don't, then you could get on a live like this, or get with somebody. Maybe you could talk to them on the phone, do a study, things of that nature, right? Go ahead, Doc.
And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
So there's a day of atonement to make an atonement for you before Yahweh, right? So the brother posted it up. Atonement, reparation for a wrong. It's like a repayment for a wrong, right? Everybody wants reparations because of slavery. This is a paying back to the Most High, in a sense, for all the sins we've committed against him, right?
For whosoever soul it shall be that not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from amongst his people.
So back in the day, you didn't keep it, you were cut off from amongst Israel.
And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul I will destroy from among his people.
And you're not supposed to do any work in it. It's like a Sabbath, right? It's a holy day.
Ye shall do no matter of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
So some people say we don't have to keep the holy days anymore because Christ came and he did away with the holy days. Well, what does the Most High say? The Most High says it's a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings, right?
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even to even ye celebrate your Sabbath.
So that's already going into something else. If you could get me Matthew 4, you know what? I didn't write Matthew 4, 1 through, I believe it's like 8 or 9. Let me see. Because the brother had said, and you know, this is something that happens to everybody. Let me go back. I believe it was a brother, Frosty. I fasted, but I keep having wicked, blasphemous thoughts towards the Most High. I hate them. Will my fast be honored or no? Right? So let's see what happened to Yahusha when he fasted. Matthew, we're going to start at Matthew 4 and 1. I'm going to read all the way to 11. I got some precepts to go along with that, but yeah, I'm going to go Matthew 4, 1 through 11, right? Because this is something common that happens, and you got to understand that this is going to happen, right? You know what? It says my connection's faster. I'm gonna see if it'll let me pull up the so I can pull up precepts out. If it starts lagging, just let me know and I'll click off of it.
Con, are you you want me to still post the rest of Matthew?
Yeah, Khan, Baba Kashaw. I'm gonna pull up like certain precepts for it.
Oh, you got it.
So yeah, Yahusha fasted, as everybody knows, for 40 days and 40 nights, right? So imagine how hard it would be to fast for 40 days. Now, of course, Yahusha, being perfect, being the Son of the Most High, could do and did do more than we could, right? But let's read his account and let's see what happened to him.
Con, this is Matthew 4 and 1. Then was Jesus led up to the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil.
So he was in the wilderness and he to be tempted of the devil.
And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered.
So imagine fasting 40 days and 40 nights, how hungry you would be. If y'all have never fasted, right? I guarantee you fast for 12 hours, or you try and do 24 hours. After 12 hours, you're going to be like, man, I need something to eat. I'm hungry. All you're going to be able to think about, especially that first fast, it's going to be like, man, I need to eat something. All you're going to be thinking about is food, right? So imagine how Yahusha was feeling.
And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread.
So he said, if you're the, so he came to tempt him, right? And he said, oh, well, if you're the Son of the Most High, then just command these stones to be turned into bread so you can eat, since you're so hungry, right?
But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God.
So if you get me Deuteronomy 8 and 6, Babu Kashal. My internet connection was already showing it's getting slower just having that tab open. So it says, it is written. So Yahusha was tempted by Satan, right? And then what did he do? We've talked about this many times before, but not when it came to fasting. He fought off Satan with the word, right? He answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh. Right? So now he wasn't just saying his own vain opinion or his own whatever he was thinking. He came with the word. He said, as it is written. So you want to go ahead and read that up?
Deuteronomy 8 and 6. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways and to fear him.
Oh, Salaki, I think it's 8 and 16. Or you know what? I think it's 8 and 3. 8 and 3. Because I remember it's crazy because this brother was talking to me about, have you ever heard of a book, not to get off topic, have you ever heard of a book called something code or Bible code, I think?
I have not.
There's a book called Bible code, and basically it's like using the Hebrew and using like gematria and things of that nature. But anyways, this was one of the verses that he kind of brought up to me. And so it's Matthew 4 and 4. It says you should not live by bread alone, right? Then if you could get me Luke 4 and 4 as well, Baal Kashal. Without getting off topic.
Luke 4 and 4?
Luke 4 and 4.
I found the book as well, Salakia. The Bible code is called.
Okay, Then I think there's a couple parts of it he was saying. But basically he was just saying that in Hebrew and I mean in English as well, you know how the elites and things of that nature, they always code with numbers, numerology and things like that. And he was just bringing out how a lot of the things in the Bible, when they deal with certain precepts, it's coded with like certain numbers. And this was actually one of them. So Matthew, not to get off topic, I just wanted to, since this came out up real quick, you want to read Matthew 4 and 4 real quick?
Luke 4 and 4?
Matthew 4 and 4, it's on the screen.
But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God.
So this is how he fought off Satan when he was tempting him when he was fasting, right? Go ahead and read down that.
Luke 4 and 4. And Yahusha answered him, saying, It is written, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God.
So again, it's the same thing, just a different account from Luke, right? Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 8 and 3. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live.
So this is what Yahusha was saying. He said, as it is written, right? He was quoting the word, because we have to understand when he was doing this, when he was in the wilderness and he was fasting, there wasn't no so-called New Testament written already, right? He was quoting the scriptures. He was quoting the Torah, right? But what I was going to say that the brother had pointed out to me is that, so you got Luke 4 and 4, right? Which 4 and 4 is 8. Then you got Matthew 4 and 4, which is also 8. And then you have Deuteronomy 8, which the 8th chapter is obviously an 8. And then what's left over, Deuteronomy, which is the 5th book, plus verse 3, is another 8. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he was just saying how it's not for. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. I know you don't as well. That there's certain aspects of the word that is written like that, and it's coded with numbers. And when you go into the Hebrew, it's even more common than in the English.
Con.
Right. But again, going back to what the brother was saying, how he has let me go back up to it. Blasphemous thoughts towards the Most High. I hate them. Will my fast be honored or no? So that's up to the Most High to honor your fast or not. Right. And actually in Isaiah 58, we'll get to that in a little bit. But if you want to pull up Sirach 2, 1 through 5. Sirach 2, 1 through 5. Ivan S. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. So you have to understand that fasting, when done in the right spirit and done for the right reasons, which we're going to look at a few reasons right now, it is pleasing to the Most High. Right? Most people don't go out of their way to put away food, drink for the Most High. Right? And like Yahusha just said in Matthew 4:4, in Luke 4:4, and like Moses said, we can't live by bread alone, but we live by the word of the Most High. Right? So you have to understand that when we're giving up something to sincerely do it for the Most High, Satan doesn't like it. Right? Just like Satan doesn't like when you're wearing fringes. Just like he doesn't like when you're keeping the Sabbath. Just like he doesn't like when you're being set apart. Right? So when you fast, just like Yahusha was tempted, we're going to be in some way or another tempted as well. Okay? And it's just like the scriptures say, is the servant better than the master? No. So if Yahusha was tempted, we're going to be tempted as well. Go ahead,
Sirach 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
So if you're going to serve Yahweh, prepare your soul for temptation. One of the ways you serve the Most High is through fasting.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
So set your heart right, get your mind right, right? And constantly endure and make not haste in time of trouble. So you're going to have to constantly endure. If you're going to do, like I said, especially if your health isn't that good, maybe start with 12 hours, maybe 16, maybe 18. If you feel like you can go to 24, you don't feel like you're about to pass out. You're not getting, I know a few years ago, I believe it was a sister had told me she started getting like hot flashes, and she would get sweaty and then she'd get real cold and then she would get sweaty. If that starts happening, I would say to eat something, maybe some fruit. You probably, your sugar level is probably low is what was with her, right? So I would say you do it to the best of your ability, but don't do it to where, like the one sister, how Priest Abak had said, she did Day of Atonement. She was elderly, she was sick, and she ended up passing away, right? Now, of course, it was the Most High's time for her to go, but the point is, you got to be practical with this, right? And you got to build yourself up. It's just like if you get in the scriptures and you need to get the milk first, right? You're not going to jump into Ezekiel and Jeremiah prophecies and be able to start breaking it down in Revelation when you haven't even got the milk. You got to get the small stuff first. It's the same thing with fasting. But you are going to have to constantly endure, right? So you're going to have thoughts like, man, I really want to eat. And you're going to have to endure that. And make not haste in time of trouble. So during those times, I would say definitely get in the scriptures, right? Start reading. If you want to read accounts of people fasting, which we're going to go over a few right now. If you want to read whatever your favorite chapter is, whatever your favorite book is, get some flashcards, right? You pray for sure. Be in prayer throughout the day. But don't make haste. Don't be quick in that time of trouble.
Sirach 2:3. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
So cleave unto the Most High. So this is speaking generally, right? But it can also be applied to fasting. You got to cleave onto the Most High. Remember the reason why you are fasting in the first place, right? When you start having these bad thoughts, and that goes back to the live that we had done about getting your mind right. I would definitely check that out. One of the things that I said on there is, as soon as you have a negative thought when fasting, you've got to pluck it out and replace it with something else. It's like if you're growing food, and let's say you're growing watermelons, and you start seeing weeds popping up. Are you going to let them grow and grow and grow, or are you going to pluck them up right when it happens? You're going to do it right when it happens, because if you don't, it's going to get deeper roots, and it's going to be harder to pull out. And then if you pull out the weed when it's big, it might pull up some of the roots from whatever you're growing as well, right? So as soon as you start having those negative thoughts, like you said, I would get in the scriptures, start reading. You can read the account of Yahusha, right? What did he do? He started quoting scriptures to Satan, right?
2 and 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
So be patient, right? You're going to feel like you're in a low estate, especially the first time you're fasting. I guarantee you, right? Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. But you got to take it to the best of your ability. You're going to have to do it in the right spirit. Take it cheerfully. You know why you're doing it. You're doing it for the Most High, or you're doing it for a specific purpose, right? Like I said, we're going to go over some scriptures or some accounts of why certain people in the scriptures did it, right? And you got to take it cheerfully, knowing that you're doing it, whether it be for an atonement for sin, or you're doing it to get closer to the Most High, or whatever the case is, right? And you're going to have to be patient, because you're going to feel at a low state, especially in your body. You're going to feel weak, right?
For gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity.
So gold is tried in the fire. And what are those fires? Is those trials, those temptations, the devil coming to you and trying to put those wicked thoughts in your head, right? Those are trials. You're tried through that fire. And when you come out on the other side, if you do what the Most High says to do, then that's what's making you more acceptable in his eyes, right? Going through that adversity.
This is Daniel 12 and 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand.
So this is one of the ways that we can be purified and be made white and be tried, right? If you think about it, you're putting yourself in the position to be tried by fasting. You're testing out your spirit, because it's like the scriptures say, the spirit and the flesh lust against each other, right? They're contrary to each other. So right now, when you fast, if you make the decision to do a fast, right, you are literally starving your flesh. But with that comes, you need to be in the right spirit to do it. Because if you're starving your flesh, and then your whole day, let's say you do 24-hour fast, and you starve your flesh, right? But then you're not doing nothing spiritual. You're not praying, you're not fast, or you're not reading, right? You're not studying. Even if you're watching videos, something like that, right? Anything to stay in the spirit more and more is going to help you, because you're, like it says, the spirit goes against the flesh, right? So let's go back to Matthew. I think we left off on 4 or no 5. All right, so in 4 verse 4, Yahusha said, you don't live by bread alone, right? You don't live by bread alone. So let's go to verse 5.
Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple.
Salaki, go ahead.
And said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up.
So the devil took him up, right, and was showing him everything, right? And he said, cast yourself down or throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up. Right? So he's quoting Psalm 91. If you want to get Psalm 91 and 10 through like 12 arc. All right, so yeah, the brother posted 1 Thessalonians 5:17, pray without ceasing. Especially during your fast, you need to pray without ceasing. Right? Anytime something, man, I'm hungry, start praying. Right? Man, I think I can do this. Thank you, Yahweh, start praying. Right?
Salakia, you said Psalm 91?
Psalm 91, and I wrote down 10, but I think it's through about 12.
Khan.
Stasha Dior Brooks, shalom, sis.
Shalom.
So, Yahusha, what did he do when he was fasting and he got tempted the first time? He quoted Deuteronomy 8:3, right? Where it says, you shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live, right? So then what happened when Satan tempted him again, right? He said, look, cast yourself down, right? If you're the son of the Most High, cast yourself down, and it's written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Right? So Satan or the devil just quoted the scriptures as well.
Psalm 91:10, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone.
So that's one of my favorite, probably my favorite, that in Psalm 23. Favorite Psalms, right? Beautiful Psalm. But the devil used it and quoted it to go against Yahusha, right? So just further proof, as we already know, a lot of Satan's agents, a lot of these devils, deceivers, know the scriptures. Whether it be scholars that are Christians or Catholic, or whether it be so-called proclaimed Israelites, teachers, priests, whatever you want to call them, right? So Satan said, cast yourself down. Let's see what Yahusha said.
Yahusha said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God.
If you want to give me Deuteronomy 6:16,
Come.
I'm looking up. It says there's 16 people in here too. So I'll praise the Most High for that.
Praises.
Right? So Yahusha said, thou shalt not tempt Yahweh thy God. It is written. So now they're getting in a precept battle, right? Yahusha quoted a precept, and then Satan or the devil said, okay, well, just throw yourself down. It's written, Psalm 91, he'll give his angels charge over you, right? Lest you dash your foot against a stone. Then Yahusha said, he didn't even use his own words, right? He said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt Yahweh thy God, right?
This is Deuteronomy 6:16. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God as ye tempted him in Massah.
So again, he's quoting the scriptures. He's quoting the Torah, right? And this is why I said also in that video to I believe it's a brother or sister of, I think it was Frosty, I would check out the video of getting your mind right, right? Because one of the things of getting your mind right is you have to plant righteous seeds in your mind and have them growing in your mind. So for example, being able to quote a scripture, right? Even if you have something memorized, even if it's something as simple as Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Simple, right? Or let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Simple things like that. If for everybody it's going to be different, but I would whatever situation you're particularly dealing with, find a verse that comforts you, find a verse that gives you strength, right? Dealing with that certain situation, and memorize it. And when that situation arises, you don't even have to go to your Bible and be like, okay, what was that verse? Let me find it. And you already have it engraved into your mind, right? And that's why in Proverbs, the 4th chapter, it says that you should write them upon the table of your heart, right? The table of your heart. It's like you're engraving. You know, in high school, how we would carve stuff into the desktop,
The S.
right? That little S with the little, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do with these scriptures, but onto the table of your heart, which is your mind, right? And that's going to help you. So,
I'm pulling up Salakia, Joshua 1 and 8.
come. Go ahead and read it. I'll pull it up right now.
This is Joshua 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Calm. So you need to be in the scriptures, right? The book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. How is it not going to depart out of your mouth if you don't have it in your mind or in your heart in the first place, right? And then you're supposed to meditate in it day and night. So how much more when you're fasting, right? You need to be in it even more when you're fasting.
Even more so. And Salakia, if I may add, I try and just personally for me, for the most part, I'm not going to say every Sabbath, but for the most part, on most Sabbaths, I try to make it practice to do some sort of fast. Some brothers might know I have a medical condition, so it doesn't allow me to sometimes do completely dry fast, which would mean no foods, because sometimes I need food. But for the most part, I'm able to do it. Sometimes I'm limited to how long I can do it for. So I'll resort to different types of fast, like a Daniel fast, which the brother can go over. But rule of thumb, usually for me on a Sabbath, it allows me to observe the Sabbath fully with holy convocation, to actually read scripture while I'm fasting. And it's not in the sense of knocking two birds with one stone where you're fasting and staying in scripture. It's just the best practice overall. Whenever you're fasting, you're gonna want to be in scripture. You're gonna want to be in the spirit, to dedicate that fast to whatever purpose you're trying to serve it. Whether it be the sacrifice to the Most High, or you have a common goal that you're praying about. It'll help you to kind of stay with that linear goal, rather than just fasting and then going on Netflix and watching something wicked, or listening to gangster rap for the day, or whatever it may be. You're not really feeding the spirit. And every time I fast, I always have that saying in my mind: starve the flesh and feed the spirit. That's what I'm doing: starving the flesh, feed the spirit. As soon as temptation, the brother one time sent me Sirach 2. If you're gonna serve the Most High, prepare to be tempted. So that's why it's important to, like he said, keep those scriptures in your mind. It shall not depart your mouth. How? By keeping it in your mind. So he put it really well with that.
Con. And just to add on to that, like you said, it's always good. Sometimes I'll fast on Sabbath, and sometimes, I mean, I've if I worked all week, you know what I mean, and I'm really tired and things of that nature, then I'll take the Sabbath to actually just completely rest, of course, study and do things like that. But I won't fast just because I'm like, you know what, it's gonna make me even more tired on the Sabbath to fast. But at the same time, there is times where I'm like, say I didn't work on Friday or something, and the same thing, I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna fast all Sabbath because I know I'm gonna stay in the scriptures, just like you said. I'm gonna be studying, I'm gonna be doing all these things, and why not fast as well?
Definitely.
You know.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, we'll go over the Daniel fast too.
yeah, so lucky. It's whatever works for people, you know. Um, sometimes, you know, fasting on the Sabbath might be the best way to go for you. Some, you know, some of you might not be able to fast during the week. You know, maybe your labor is very grievous, I guess you could call it. But you know, everybody has their own situations that they got to deal with. So you kind of adjust and go, and you learn from it. You know, like the brother said, you don't just do your first dry fast 24 hours straight, and then you know find yourself hour 6 like just starving yourself. You know, you got to start and
Con,
recognize your body and understand how to deal with that.
con, con. Now, I was reading the scripture earlier. If you can get Ecclesiastes, I think it's 5:19.
Come on.
Let me see real quick. Like you said, I mean, we all have our own lot. You know what I mean? We all have our own lot. When it's not specific, like okay, Day of Atonement, how we went over it. Day of Atonement, everybody is supposed to fast even to even, right? That's specific. But the Most High is gonna put it on your spirit to fast for a certain amount of time in a certain way, and that's gonna be according to your own lot. Like it's like the same thing with praying. There's no law that says pray 3 times a day and kneel down, right?
Mhm.
But that's something that I strive to do just because Daniel did it, so why not, right? And like I've said many times before, when you're kneeling down and praying to the Most High, and this is not to be like, oh well, I try to kneel down and pray to the Most High 3 times a day, I'm more righteous, blah blah blah. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not saying anybody has to do it. But if there's an example of something in the scriptures, then why not try to do it, especially if it was somebody who was so close to the Most High, right? Let me
Ecclesiastes 5 and what up?
I believe it's 5:19. Let me look it up real quick.
You're good.
I was just reading it earlier. Con 5:19.
Come. Come. This is Ecclesiastes 5 and 19. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and had given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God.
Con, and I think I was reading it. Maybe it was the NLT. I was on Bible Hub, but in one of the other versions it said his lot instead of his portion. But it's the same thing, right? Every man has their own portion and their own lot, right? Every man has different work. Every man prays differently. In a sense, every man studies a little bit differently at different times and things of that nature, right? So it's not that like you said, I mean, everybody's going to do it a little bit differently. Everybody has different health conditions. Some people have fasted more so they know they can go longer, right? It's like the last time, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, one of my daughters fasted with me. And then afterwards, she was like, you know what? I was like, well, was it hard? And she was like, it was kind of. Next time we should try 2 days. And I was like, all right. Like it kind of builds you up, you know, when you know. It's like if you work out for 30 minutes straight and you do that a couple times. And then next time you want to work out a little bit longer. You know you can go longer. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with fasting. So the brother Kingdom Minded said I fast every week. So Khan, I'll praise the Most High. I'm doing a 3-day fast soon. So Khan, if you and let me say this as well. Another good way to fast Salakia, you say something?
No, you're good.
Okay, the screen froze up for a second. So it says, I'm doing a 3-day fast soon. Another way of fasting, if you can't go 3 days straight, and this is actually something I got from, again, from MMA, mixed martial arts. If you do a 3-day fast, a water fast, it actually is very beneficial as well. Let me, or if you could try and pull up something knock real quick, it's just put like 3-day fast rebuilds immune system. So brother,
repeat that. I'm sorry, my was going right now.
read,
I opened up Bible to get the it slowed down all kinds of crazy. Repeat what you just asked me out.
No, it's cool. Let me pull it up on my. Oh no, you know what? I just gave my phone. It's all right. You don't even have to pull it up. I'll just explain basically, and y'all can look it up for yourself. If you do a 3-day fast, right? Have you ever heard about like the 3-day fast start, 72-hour fast?
Yeah, I've been actually looking into that.
Okay, Khan. So basically,
the
whether it's a water fast, Salaki, go ahead.
The regeneration of your cells.
Khan. So basically, what happens is whether you do a water fast, if it's just water, or you do no food, no water, 3 days, after 72 hours, your cells will start to regenerate. Right? And what your body is doing is your body needs nutrients to survive. Right? So when you do a fast, you're not eating anything physically. So your body's gonna start wanting to eat something, right? So the first thing it starts eating is anything that's unhealthy. So if you even look into cancer, like there's certain people that were diagnosed with cancer, and they'll go on fasts, extended fasts, like the 72-hour fast, for example, and they'll end up going into remission because your body starts killing off those cells. It starts eating away at the ones that it doesn't need, right? So that's why a lot of people too as well say you're an overweight person, the first thing your body's going to start eating at is the fat cells, right? It's not going to start eating away at your muscle. It's going to eat away at the things that it doesn't need. So like the brother said, if he's going to do a 3-day fast soon, if you work yourself up to that, it's very, very beneficial, especially with the regeneration of cells, right? It says every time I fast, I feel so fresh, calm. So I'm actually building up to do that same fast stock. So yeah, I'll praise the Most High. That's a good one. And like I was saying before, if you need to do water first, right? Or it's like I told my daughter, if you want to do 48 hours, I would say try and go 24 with nothing, and then maybe the next 24 just do water fast, or even a liquid fast, right? Actually, yesterday I did, or for 24 hours I did a liquid fast as well, and it's just like you can do juices, like celery juice. I think the one I think I just threw it away. It was celery, apple, parsley, kale, and lemon, right? But after you do that, man, you feel fresh, like the brother said. You feel good. And another thing, just to add before we get back to the scriptures, another thing to add, after a fast, when you break a fast, right? That's why breakfast is called breakfast. It's actually break fast. You're breaking the fast from when you're sleeping, right? You don't want to overindulge or overeat, right? Because you have to understand all your whole body, your intestines, your stomach, everything is just getting back into food, right? Getting back used to digesting properly. So the first thing you should do after a fast is drink at least a cup, maybe 2 cups of water. Because what that's going to do is it's going to moisten and wet all your intestines. Because we got, I don't know how many feet of intestines, right? So imagine after 24 or 48 or 72 hours of not eating or drinking nothing, how dry it's gonna be, and you're gonna feel it. You feel that cotton mouth, right up.
Oh yeah, ton.
Not like back in the days when we would smoke, but you feel that cotton mouth, right? So the first thing you should do is drink some water, maybe like 8 ounces, 16 ounces of water, 1 or 2 glasses, and it's gonna moisten all your intestines and all that, and it's gonna make it easier to digest. And then don't go all crazy and eat a big old plate, 2 portions of what you normally eat, right? That's gonna be a disservice to yourself, because what you're doing is you want to get back to a normal, healthy portion, because there is people as well that aren't in the word, and or like I said, when I worked at the MMA gym, we would still tell people to fast, but they were doing it more so to lose weight, right? But it shrinks your stomach when you fast. So say your stomach is this big and you fast and it becomes smaller, it actually shrinks. So you don't want to go right after you fast and just eat a big old meal and stretch your stomach back out. That's going to be a disservice to you, right? So if you want to read that real quick,
Ecclesiastes 5:19. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God.
So whatever portion the Most High gave you, that is what he gifted you, right? That is your lot. So I'm not going to say you need to fast for this long. If you're fasting for this reason, you have to fast for this long, and you need to do no food, no water, or you need to do a water fast, or whatever. Everybody has their own portion, right? Everybody has their own lot, right? So let me go back up to or hold on. The brother said we can tell no one we're fasting. So we went over that in Matthew 6, I believe it was 6 and 16 on down, right? Yahusha said that you're not even supposed to appear to fast before men, right? Fasting made change my diet a bit. I ate a burger after a fast. It messed me up. And that's another thing. You want to put something healthy in your body afterwards, right? Like after this live, well, I'm already done with the fast, so I could tell y'all, right? I'm already done. But it ended like not too long ago. After this, I know my rib already made like some squash and corn and green beans and all types of vegetables and stuff with some white rice. So that's what I'm gonna have, right? You want to put something healthy in your body. You don't want to do a burger or go eat a whole pizza. I remember one day after one time I did that. One time after Day of Atonement, we went and got a big old New Yorker pizza, I don't even know how big it was, bro. It was huge. And it messed me up too.
That's where I go off. Sometimes I'll break the Sabbath with some wings. Not even gonna lie. Oh man, but got me feeling all sorts of slothful afterwards. Ready for that nap. It's no good. So definitely gonna apply that. Maybe fruit. Break fast with fruit. Break fast with water and fruit. Like you said, maybe some juice. So I personally gotta eat better than that, because I know I'm hungry. Once that fast ends,
For
so
sure.
I get it, yeah.
So let's go back to what we on 4:10. If you want to read this, and then we'll read 4:11 real quick.
Then said Yahushua unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
Oh, Salaki, I think we're up on 9, right? Or was it 8? Let me see. Oh yeah, verse 8. Salaki, go ahead.
Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them.
So if you could give me what is it? 1 Corinthians 8 and 5. 1 Corinthians 8 and 5. And then 2 Corinthians 4 and 3 through 4. 2 Corinthians 4, 3 through 4. Right? So again, it says, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. Right? So he's showing them all the kingdoms. Right? And as we know, Job 9 and 24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right? He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not who? Right? So if the people in charge right now of this earth aren't the wicked, then who is the wicked? Right? That's basically what it's asking. But it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So we have to understand that Satan, right, is in charge of this place. The Most High allowed him to be in charge of this place. Right? He is the God of this world. As it says, let's actually read 2 Corinthians first.
2 Corinthians 4 and 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
So if the gospel, if the word, if the Bible, if the truth, having eyes to see, ears to hear, if it's hid from some people, it is hid from them that are lost. Go ahead.
2 Corinthians 4 and 4. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them.
So if the gospel is hid from people, the God of this world, which is Satan, right? And of course, he has many devils, many deceivers working under him. Like, look at how we just read Legion the other day. And he had 3,000, there was 3,000 devils or demons in him, right? So imagine how many are walking the earth and in all these people, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, right? Go ahead and read this out.
1 Corinthians 8 and 5. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many.
So there's many gods, because some people say that's blasphemy. You're calling Satan the God of this world and this, that, and the other, right? You have to understand there are that are called gods, lowercase g, many in heaven and in the earth, right? Psalm 82 and 6 says, ye are gods. Yahusha said in John, isn't it written that ye are gods, talking to Israelites, right? It says, as there be gods many and lords many. And then verse 6, 1 Corinthians 8 and 6 says, but there is one God the Father. So there's one Most High God, right? But we have to understand, or the point of it is, that Satan is the God of this world. He's in control of this world, right? So when he told Yahusha, let me go back to it. You want to read that one more time, Mark?
Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me.
So Satan said, just bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all the things of the earth, right?
Then said Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
Only shall you serve Yahweh, right? And this is written all throughout the scriptures, right? I mean, you could go just to Exodus. The first chapter is have no other gods, or the 20th chapter, the first commandment, right, has have no other gods before him, right? But it's all throughout the scripture. So he's quoting the scriptures again, saying that you're only supposed to serve Yahweh. Go ahead.
Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him.
So he said, get thee hence, Satan, right? Which in the Christian church they would say, get behind me, Satan, right? Saying, get away from me. And he's quoting scriptures as he's doing it. So this is how you rebuke the enemy, especially when you're fasting, because like I said, it's going to happen. It's going to happen where you're tempted to eat. It's going to happen where you have thoughts you don't want to have. And that's why, like the brother Jomar said, it's very important that you stay in the scriptures, right? And you pray, and you're doing everything possible to stay as much as you can in the spirit. Let me see. Priest of the Box recommended fruit for a salad. So yeah, if you want to get Daniel 1 and 8, Daniel 1 and 8 through 16. So that's what the brother Jomar was saying that he does as well sometimes. Some people call it the Daniel diet. Some people call it the Pulse diet. Right? Milo TV, bless you, brothers. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakatah, bless you as well. So Exodus 20 and 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And all throughout the scriptures it speaks about that, right? Psalm 82 and 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Right? Ye are gods. So Satan, the god of this world, especially when you're fasting, isn't going to like it. And he's going to try and come at you. And you need to be prepared in the spirit, knowing that you're going to be tried. Right? So
Through 18?
Salakia?
Through 18?
Through, I think it's 16.
Come.
Let me see.
Eat the portion of the meat. Gave him pulse. Come.
So this is what some people call the Daniel diet. Some people call the vegetarian diet. I've heard people call it the pulse diet. All types of things, right?
Come. This is Daniel 1 and 8. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself.
So this is when Israel was in captivity under Nebuchadnezzar, right? And Daniel, like it says here, Daniel proposed in his heart that he didn't want to defile himself with the king's meat, right? Because the king was giving him good meat and wine, because the Most High made Daniel in a position, Daniel, Meshach, Abednego, those 4 Israelites, right? That the Most High made to that he made Nebuchadnezzar show them favor. So they were getting meat, they were getting wine, but Daniel didn't want it, right? He didn't want to defile himself with that, right? Go ahead.
Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs.
So the Most High gave favor to Daniel through the people that was overseeing him, right? Go ahead.
And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king.
So the one that was in charge of them, right? The prince of the eunuchs, the prince that was in charge of them, Daniel told him, like, he didn't want the meat, right? But he said, I fear my lord the king. I fear Nebuchadnezzar, who appointed me, or appointed your meat and drink. So I'm supposed to be giving you this meat and this drink, right? And he even said, for why should he see your faces worse than everyone else that you're with, right? So he's saying, if you stop eating this meat and this drink, you're going to look worse off than the other people that are eating it. And you're going to make me endanger my head to the king. In other words, off with his head, they're going to cut his head off if he displeases the king, right? Go ahead.
Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
So if you read at the beginning of the chapter, I don't have my Bible open, but sometimes it'll say it'll have the names different, and it's just the different translations, right? Even in the same chapter in the King James, right? But go ahead.
Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink.
Khan. So if you could get the definition for pulse, Baba Kasha'ak.
Gotcha.
So he said, prove thy servant. In other words, like test us out. I beseech thee, or I beg thee, for 10 days, right? 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. So we're replacing the meat with pulse and replacing the wine with water, right? This is what Daniel was asking him, and he's saying, like, prove us, let us show you, right? Let's see how we look.
Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants.
So he said, after 10 days, then let our countenances, or the way our faces look, be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the king's meat, right? So look at us and compare us to those that are eating the meat and the wine, compared to us eating the pulse and drinking the water. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So in other words, if we do look bad, whatever, deal with us however you're going to deal with us, right?
Con, I got the definition. Give me a second here. There you go.
Okay, it hasn't popped up on my end yet.
So this is Daniel 1:14. So he consented to them in this manner and proved them 10 days.
So he consented to them in this manner and proved them 10 days. So he said, let's do it, go for it. And he proved them. He tested them out 10 days, right?
And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat of the portion of the king's meat.
So after the 10 days, they looked better than the people that weren't eating just pulse and water, that were eating the meat and the wine.
Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse.
Khan. So we'll pull up the definition. While only vegetables and water are listed in the scripture, the word pulse in the King James Bible is defined as bean or seed grown for food, allowing for fruits, whole grains, and other plant-based foods to be included in the diet plan. So, Khan, if you go to the blue letter, let me see if it'll let me pull it up. If you go to the blue letter, I believe it says, like it just said there, that it just says vegetables.
Pulse. Daniel, pulse to eat, tools.
Khan, if you want to look it up, mine's real slow.
Page 2235.
So verse 15 again, it says, at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. 16, thus Melzar took away the portion of the king's meat and the wine that they should drink and gave them pulse. Right? So I've heard people use this and say, well, you see, you should be vegetarian then, or you should be vegan, or you should be whatever, right? Because Daniel and all four of the Israelites that were in captivity, they looked better not eating the meat, right? Now, I'm not saying you should be a vegan or you should be a vegetarian or you should eat meat or you shouldn't eat meat. Again, every man is different, right? But I will say it's lawful to eat what meats are lawful, right? Because I don't know if you've heard that, Ak. There's some brothers out there that say it's actually unlawful to eat meat.
I have yet to hear that. I mean, what do you do for the Pasah?
Exactly. So I would say you're gonna have to eat lamb on Passover, right? But there is a doctrine out there. I forgot which camp it is. It's a real small one, but they believe that you're actually supposed to not eat meat. As a matter of fact, if you could get Ezekiel 4:13.
Con.
Let me read this real quick. From H2 2:32, something sown only in the plural, i.e., vegetables as food posts, right? So it does say vegetables, but again, you also sow, say, apple trees. You sow watermelons, which are fruit, right? Even tomatoes, which is considered a fruit. So posts, so that's one way you can fast. Like the brother said, he does that. I do that as well sometimes. But most of the time I'll try and do a full fast. Or if it's gonna be more than 24 hours, I'll do a water fast a lot of the times, right? But to start off, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, as long as you come sincere to the Most High, I'll just speak on personal experience. The Most High knows my situation in particular, so I'll set forward in prayer and communicate that with the Most High through prayer. You know, however it is that you pray, just be sincere. I usually do. You know, I try to do dry fast or water fast depending on the situation, and just let it known. You know, like in the instance that I do need to break my fast, you know, I set forward that it only be fruit. It be, you know, in a form of a Daniel fast. That we communicated in sincerity, because you know you want to establish that relationship with the Most High. That way you start hearing His voice more clearly. You know, especially through prayer and fasting. That's that sacrifice you're making of the flesh, so you can let it be known.
Con, and it's just like in any relationship, they always say communication is key, right?
Con.
Same thing with the Most High, and even though it wasn't fasting, I remember years ago when I first came into the truth, and it must have been right when I came in because it was about 5 years ago. I had a job where sometimes I would have to work real late on Fridays, and Sabbath would be starting, and I would be like, man, I already know. Like I even told them, like, hey, sundown, I gotta stop working, but we would be in a truck, like multiple guys out working, so it's not like I could be like, hey, take me back or something like that, you know. So I would pray to the Most High, and I would always pray, like, if you can put me in a position to not have to break the Sabbath anymore, even though it's a few minutes, you know what I mean? And He made a way for that to happen fairly quickly, you know. So like you said, it's all about sincerity with the Most High. He knows your heart, you know, and if you're coming in sincerity, He's gonna help you and accept what you're able to do. Right, so if you want to go ahead and read that.
Ezekiel 4:13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
So if you want to get 1 Samuel 7:3-6, 1 Samuel 7:3-6. So in Ezekiel, Yahweh said, the children of Israel are going to eat defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I drive them, wherever I drive them, right? So we know that food is defiled in one way or another. The majority of the food that we're eating, unless you're growing it yourself, right, with no pesticides, no nothing, you got some organic seeds, you know that it's not genetically modified, things of that nature. There's no way of really telling if your food is defiled or not, right? Just like when you go to any store and you buy bread, right? If and maybe this will be a surprise to some of y'all, if you look at 90-something% of the bread, it has mono and diglycerides in it. And the majority of the time, mono and diglycerides come from or have pork in it, right? So the majority of snacks as well have monodiglycerides in it. The majority of cake mixes, if you go to Walmart, we can't find a cake mix that doesn't have monodiglycerides in it, at least at the one by our house, right? So in one way or another, it's going to be defiled bread. And that just comes back to being vigilant, though. You got to be vigilant and look into everything you're putting into your temple, right?
I had a situation at work because they know I don't eat pork at work. So when they want to do potlucks and stuff like that, they stay away from pizzas, things like that. And this one time, I had one of my managers. This was a while back. She said, "Hey," she was trying to share like a snack she had, and she goes, "Hey, do you want some of these?" And then she's like, "I don't think it has pork in it, right?" She was reading the ingredients, so I'm reading the ingredients. I'm like, red 40, blue 60, all these kinds of like chemicals, and I was like, I mean, it doesn't have pork, but look at all this, like it has all this other stuff in it, you know. So yeah, you might not be eating defiled foods, but at the same time, you know, it's still all kinds of poison out here, you know. So it's just being vigilant. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but it just kind of opened my eyes, you know. I was like, oh, cool, no pork, but it has like 60 other ingredients, you know.
Con, and that's another thing. Like even before the truth, my daughters always, and my rib, they love hot Cheetos, Takis, all that stuff. But then we found out red 40 causes cancer and causes all types of diseases and sicknesses. So even before like coming into the truth and stuff like that, I was like, nope, can't have that, can't have this, can't have that.
Yep.
Then another thing is high fructose corn syrup. That's in everything. Everything has high fructose corn syrup, right? Any type of, so that's why I don't drink sodas, because high fructose corn syrup is in every, unless you get a Mexican like from Mexico, a Sprite, yep, and it has all the same ingredients, except instead of sugar it has cane sugar, and it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup, right? Because there's a video that I saw years ago, not to get off topic again, because we still got a lot of verses to go through, but basically there was a rat, actually I think it was a Mortal Technique that had shared the video years and years ago, and it was a rat going through the little maze, going and getting the food, right? Then they gave him some water with high fructose corn syrup in it, and it took him like way longer than before. It really just dumbs you down, and it makes you docile is what it does. Right, so that's defiled bread in the sense of, like you said, it's unhealthy, it's very bad for you, and there's a lot of chemicals and a lot of different stuff.
This is 1 Samuel 7:3. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Asheroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines.
So Samuel was speaking to Israel, and he said, you need to return to Yahweh with all your hearts. So like at the beginning of this, we said, if you're going to fast, the first thing you got to do is like get your mind right and set for fasting, right? And then it says, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you. So Ashtaroth, what they called them back then in the Hebrew, and the Greeks called her Ishtar, and now in English, Easter, right? They're still celebrating and going after those strange gods by celebrating holidays like that, right? Then it says, prepare your hearts unto Yahweh and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. Go ahead.
Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth and serve the Lord only. And Samuel said, gather all Israel to Mizpeh, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpeh, and drew water, and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, we have sinned against the Lord, And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh.
So Samuel told them, you need to stop serving these other gods. You need to serve him only. You need to get your heart or set your mind right, right? And they put away Balaam, or Baal is what most people know him as, and Ashtaroth, which were gods of the Philistines. They were taking on other gods, other idols, and they served Yahweh only, right? Then Samuel told them, gather together, right? And I'm gonna pray for y'all. So what did they do? They gathered together and they fasted, right? And what did they do? They prayed and they said, we have sinned against Yahweh. And Samuel judged the children of Israel. So another reason that you can fast, right? And notice it says right here, and they gathered together to Mizpeh and drew water and poured it out before Yahweh. Kind of like an offering, how they used to do offerings back then. But they just, imagine you have some water on the time that you're fasting. You get some water and you just pour it out, right? Imagine how thirsty they were. But the point of it is this at this point in time, they were fasting for repentance, right? They were specifically fasting for repentance. So if you've done something you know you shouldn't have been doing, maybe you were going after other gods, maybe you were worshiping money, people, whatever the case may be, right? Or another reason, maybe you went off and you smoked weed and you sincerely want to repent of it, and now you want to fast, right? This is what they were doing. This is what Samuel had them doing, and what the Most High had them doing, right? They fasted and they said, we have sinned against Yahweh. So when you fast, if you're fasting specifically for a certain thing you're repenting of, then pray to the Most High. I know I've sinned against you. I'm trying to get right with this fast. Please help me get my spirit right, get these spirits off of me, etc. Right? So that's one reason why people would fast. If you want to give me Ezra chapter 8, let's see. Ezra chapter 8 and 1. And then also the same chapter, verse 15 through 23. Ezra 8 and 1 and 15 through 23. So the brother said, you actually make a cake without using that mixed junk. Khan. Now my rib and my two oldest daughters, they make stuff from scratch now. As a matter of fact, they're gonna make some banana bread, some chocolate chip banana bread from scratch right now. Right, and that's the beauty of having a rib, having daughters. So we're gonna read Ezra now, and another reason why you can fast. Another reason why you can fast sometimes is for guidance, right? Maybe you're struggling with something, or you don't know what you're gonna do. You had a big change in your life, or a big change is gonna come, and you need to pray for guidance. You can also fast for guidance, right?
So like, 1 second.
Go ahead,
20 and 21. Come. This is Ezra chapter 8, verse 1. These are now the chief of their fathers, and this is the genealogy of them that went up with me from Babylon in the reign of Artaxerxes the king.
So have you seen what is it called? 300?
Khan.
So yeah, the name Xerxes is actually all throughout the Bible, and also that was in the Medes captivity, where it was actually Xerxes, but this is Artaxerxes, right?
Artaxerxes, Khan.
So go ahead.
And I gathered them together. This is Ezra 8:15. And I gathered them together to the river that runneth to Ahava, and there abode we in tents 3 days. And I viewed the people and the priests, and found there none of the sons of Levi. So
this is when they were coming out of the captivity, Ezra and the other Israelites, and they didn't find, or they didn't have any Levites, right? Which we know back then that was the priests.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Then
ahead.
said I for Eleazar, for Ariel, for Shemiah, and for Elnathan, and for Jarib, and for Elnathan, and for Nathan, and for Zechariah, and for Meshulam, chief men. Also for Joyarib, and for Elnathan, men of understanding.
So he was sending for these different men and for men of understanding, right?
Count.
Go ahead.
And I sent them with commandment unto Edo, the chief, at the place Casiphia. And I told them what they should say unto Edo, and to his brethren, the Nethinims, at the place Casiphia, and they should bring unto us ministers for the house of our God.
So he was sending for these other men, right? The Nethinims is actually there were people that were David. Actually, I think it mentions it later on. David had set up to be basically like assistants, I guess you would say, to the priests, right? They would help the priests. So like modern day, like say in the Catholic Church, you know how they have the, what are they called? Like the yeah, like altar boys or stuff like that, right? They weren't boys, but they were men. But this is people that David had set up, the Nethinims, to help out the priests, right? So he was sending for these men, and like it says here, it says that they should bring unto us ministers for the house of Yahweh. Because you have to understand, they were coming out of the captivity. They don't have no Levite priests. So how are they gonna observe and do all of the temple rituals and offerings and things of that nature, right? Go ahead.
And by the good hand of our God upon us, they brought us a man of understanding of the sons of Mali, the sons of Levi, the son of Israel, and Sherebiah, with his sons and his brethren, 18.
So by the hand of the Most High of Yahweh, right? They brought men of understanding of the sons of Mali, the son of Levi, or the tribe of Levi, which was the priest, the son of Israel or Jacob, and Sherebiah with his sons and his brethren, 18. So they came back with 18 priests, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
And Hashabiah, and with him Jesiah of the son of Merari, his brethren and their sons, 20. Also of the Nethinims, whom David and the princes had appointed for the service of the Levites, 220 Nethinims. All of them were expressed by name.
So not only did they bring the 8, or how many was it? 18 priests? Or
20?
Oh, 20. Salakia, 20, and also 220 Nethinims, right?
Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ahava, that we might afflict ourselves before our God, to seek of him a right way for us, and for our little ones, and for all our substance.
Khan. So then once the priests came, and once all these men came and they were getting together, now picture it, for example, let's say me and you, Ak, and then let's say something happens here in Babylon and we gotta flee and we go to Mexico or something, right? And we find all these other brothers and sisters and we all come together. We don't really know each other that well. We don't know how it's gonna go. We don't know, without the Most High, it's not gonna mesh, it's not gonna go good. So what Ezra did is he proclaimed a fast that we might afflict ourselves before Yahweh, to seek of him a right way for us and for our little ones and for all our substance, right? So they were seeking, they were fasting to ask the Most High to guide them in the right way, give them direction, give them guidance, right? And not only them, like it says, our little ones, our children, our substance, everything, for the Most High to guide them in all things, right? So if you don't know what you're supposed to do right now, if you feel like you need some type of guidance, right? If you don't know the right way to go, of course, have faith that the Most High will help you. But if he puts it on your spirit to fast for it, right? it's like many times I've said or posted before, you sometimes you just got to put a little bit of work behind that faith, right? And fasting would definitely be a good thing to do, right? So the brother said, do these demons come at us more harder? Because I noticed ever since I started fasting, Satan's trying to get to me all other ways I least expect. So Khan, I mean, for some people, and again, that goes back to your lot, right? For some people, you're going to be tempted in certain areas more than others, right? And I can attest to that as well, especially when I started fasting, especially when I started keeping the feast days, especially all these things. But one thing I would say is the more I distance myself from people that are in the world, the easier, or not, it's never going to be completely easy, right? But the easier it became with all these things, because he has less. It's like Sirach 11:29 says, Satan has many trains to get to you, right? The deceitful man has many trains. When you start cutting off the different trains that he has, let's say your best friend is trying to get you to smoke weed, best friend, right? Your family is trying to get you to observe wicked holidays. This chick that you hang out with is trying to get you to fornicate, etc., etc. The more trains you cut off or people you cut off, the less ways he's going to have to get to you, right? The more you stay away from those people that Satan is using to try to get to you, the less he's going to be able to get to you. You have anything to add on that, Art?
Now you that scripture pretty much nails it down. Sirach 11:29. Bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man hath many trains. Also, I feel like a lot of times, me coming from the world, I used to believe in. I used to really put a lot of thought into subconscious thought, how you programmed your life with what you watch, and that still carries on until today, because you could be listening to music and program your mind. Um, Same thing you do subconsciously. I feel like a lot of people in the truth might leave, including us. We might leave certain doors open because we know those doors will eventually down the line offer that temptation to us. You know, whatever that may be, whether it be acquaintances, you're not cutting them off. Um, Whether that be social media, because you know that certain things are going to pop up and it's going to offer that door. A lot of the times we do ourselves that disservice, and I just speak on pure self self reflection, because I used to be big into like the world of hip hop before this, but we all know that world is really wicked. It offers nothing but just bad things to our mind and our mental, and the entry for the deceiver to come into our mind. So a lot of the times we leave those doors open by choice, and you might not be thinking it consciously, but Yahusha said that it's better to enter the kingdom, without limb or without like pluck your eye out, if that's what's causing you to sin. But we got to do the most for the Most High.
Calm, for sure. And yeah, going back to the music, it's like I said a while back. I can't remember which live it was. I think it was the one like my testimony, that type of thing. Back before I would go and steal, because like I said, man, I was a career thief. Let's just say that. And it was most of the time it was like 3-6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? And now being in the truth, like, well, come on, 3-6 Mafia, it makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? But I would get me like hyped up to go and do what I was about to do. So music for sure as well. I mean, music for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And not just that, but it could trigger thoughts. You may not even be thinking about doing drugs, and then that Wiz Khalifa plays, and all of a sudden, you can smell the weed, or you got whatever it is you're listening to, lustful thoughts, substance abuse, doing crime, just all kinds of wickedness.
Con. So if you want to get me 1 Samuel 31, 11 through 13. 1 Samuel 31, 11 through 13.
Repeat that one more time. You cut off.
1 Samuel 31,
Con.
11 through 13.
Con.
So another reason why you can fast is grief, right? I know a lot of times certain things will happen. Say you lose someone in your life, whether it be they pass away, or whether it be, you're just coming into the truth. And it's like Ecclesiastes 1:18 says, when you increase knowledge, you increase wisdom, you're going to increase sorrow, right? So another scriptural reason that would fast is because of grief, right? Hopefully some of y'all are familiar with Saul and David and that whole story. Let's go ahead and read that.
This is 1 Samuel 31 and 11. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul,
Salakia.
Go
ahead.
All valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of the sons from the wall of Bethshan and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. And they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh and fasted 7 days.
So this is when Saul had died, right? And I pulled it up. I'm gonna read real quick, a little bit farther back, just so you can get the backstory of it. But this is when Saul died, and when they went to bury him, right? And then they fasted 7 days. So this was the king of Israel, obviously, or the ex-king of Israel. And when he died, they were fasting basically out of grief, right? So verse 3, 31 and 3, it says, and the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Verse 4, then said Saul unto his armor bearer, draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. So Saul basically committed suicide, right? He took a sword and fell upon it purposely because he was already hit with the archers and he didn't want them to come and, like it says, I think it said abuse him, right? Or do all manner of, probably torture him, right? And then it says, and when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor bearer, and all his men the same day together. Right? So after this happened, after Saul and his 3 sons died, his armor bearer died, and all the men that were with him, what did they do? They fasted for 7 days. So another reason that you can fast is, grief. And I don't know if you've been through it, Doc, but sometimes when people pass away in your life and you don't really feel like eating anyways, you know what I'm saying? You kind of lose your appetite. Even if you lose somebody, not physically, they die, but like they fall out of your life, sometimes it makes you kind of lose your appetite as well. Right. So, and again, during that time, praying, fast, or while you're fasting, praying, being in the scriptures to build up your spirit and things of that nature, right? If you could give me 2 Chronicles 20 and 1 through 4. 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 1 through 4. Kingdom Minded 144, what's good music? I would say the brother Jomar right here, go to YouTube and put Most High Supplied. right? Other than that, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really listen to much music. You know what, Ak? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it on here, even though nobody else knows what we're talking about. I've been listening to the Most High Supplied, and I've been listening to those songs that we did just on repeat, over and over and over.
Yeah, we definitely got we got some songs that I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy, to say the least. Um, we're just working on the Most High's timing, with a lot going on. Slowly but surely, everyone's gonna have some brand new music to listen to. Down the line, if you want to hit me up on the side, I'll share my playlist with you. I'm big on music, and I like to, if you follow me on Instagram, I post a lot of different types of music. I don't want to get off topic too much, but I definitely take, just because I'm always been listening to music, and like I said, I don't want to pollute my mind with what I used to listen to. So I try to stay, in the spirit with people who talk scripture, and
Con,
it's usually music praising the Most High or edifying the nation. I'll be more than happy to share that kind of stuff with you. But the brother's right. We definitely have some new music that will definitely hit right with the nation. We just got to get it together and just finish the final processes.
con, and not to I'm not hating on nobody, but I'm just gonna say it just so y'all know. I'm like the brother. I'm like the brother. What was the judge's name? The one that you came on the live with? Is it Ezra?
Israel.
Okay, Ezra. I'm just like him, bro. I'm old school. I can't listen to autotune. I can't listen to autotune. I hate I despise it. Autotune vexes me, right? Autotune vexes me, bro.
It's I get the appeal, but it's unnatural harmonics. It's what it is. You know,
Con,
we resonate with that natural vocality of the instrumentation of one's voice. But I totally hear you, man.
con.
that,
And
that
that's not hating on nobody. It's not
but
like this brother does it and I don't like his music. I just don't like it in general. That's just me though, right?
with that being said, people are gonna. That's why people are gonna like this. What we have coming, because it's kind of anti that. No
Con,
disrespect to anybody, but
I would
um,
agree.
that's kind of what it is.
But you know what? The young, well, we'll just leave it. We'll leave it for later.
Kind of.
Let's go ahead and go to this First Chronic or Second Chronicles.
2 Chronicles 20:1. It came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle.
Okay, so the Israelites were going to battle, right? Go ahead.
Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, there cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the sea on the side of Syria.
So they came and told him. Actually, Ak, if you could get verse 4 as well, Baba Kashaw.
Khan.
Verse 4 as well. So it said there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, there cometh a great multitude. So a multitude is already a lot, right? So when it says a great multitude, it's a whole bunch of people are coming, right, against you from beyond the sea on this side of Syria. So a whole bunch of people are coming to battle you, is what he's saying.
And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek the Lord and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah.
So he knew what was coming. He knew a battle was coming up, right? Something that made him fear. So what did he do? He proclaimed a fast for his people.
And Judah gathered themselves together to ask help of the Lord. Even out of all the cities of Judah, they came to seek the Lord.
So they were seeking him, right? They gathered themselves together to ask help of the Most High. So they were asking for help. They were asking for protection. They were asking for deliverance, really, right? And I know this is an actual physical war, right? But it's like when Yahusha spoke, right? It was always a parable. Like even with this, we all go through certain battles, through certain wars, and when you don't know if you're gonna be able to win that battle, then go ahead and fast and ask the Most High to help you out, right? That's gonna be one of the most beneficial things you can do. You can get me 1 Kings 21. I'm gonna go 20 through 29. 1 Kings 21, 20 through 29. So most high willing, this week, I want to do a study on Jezebel, which I've been meaning to do for a long time, but I know that's going to be a long one. There's a lot of stuff to go over, but this is talking about Ahab, right? He was the king of Israel at that time, and he was married to Jezebel. So now a lot of people know about him as one of the wickedest kings of Israel, which he was, and it even says in the scriptures, right? We're going to read about what happened with him. So far we've gone over some of the reasons why. We went over Day of Atonement, of course, which goes without saying. Then went over in Ezra, they fasted for guidance. In 1 Samuel 7, they fasted for repentance. 1 Samuel 31, fasted for out of grief. Right? We just read 2 Chronicles, the 20th chapter, which they fasted for protection or for deliverance. Right? So now we're gonna go into this one.
This is 1 Kings 21 and 20. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of Yahweh. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel.
So Ahab was doing a lot of wickedness, like it says in chapter 20, right? Then the Most High sent Elijah to go tell him, y'all are going to be cut off for doing all of this wickedness, right? In Israel. Go ahead.
And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah.
And I'm going to destroy your houses like I've done to these other people. Go ahead.
For the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin.
Because Ahab was following after Jezebel, and she was leading him and provoking him to do all manners of sin and wickedness, right? And because of that, it provoked the Most High to anger, and it led a lot of Israel into sin.
And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
So now imagine a man coming to you and telling you you're going to be punished for all the wickedness you're doing, and your wife is going to be eaten by dogs, right? Go ahead.
Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yahweh, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up.
So it said all these people, all these Israelites are doing wickedness, right? Under Ahab. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yahweh. And now you have to understand, he was the king of Israel. And he was still doing all this wickedness, right? Whom Jezebel, his wife, stirred up. Which Proverbs 31 and 3 says, or if you want to get that real quick, So, but really keep this in your mind, right? It says there was none like unto Ahab. So it's saying all these Israelites were being wicked under him and sinning, but there was none like Ahab, who was the king of Israel and doing all this wickedness, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yahweh. whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. Right? So
Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy waist to that which destroyeth kings.
don't give your strength to women, which is exactly what Ahab was doing. Right? He was giving his strength to Jezebel. He was letting her provoke him to do wickedness against the Most High. Right? And that's what destroyed him in the end. Right? And that's what made him wicked. Because like it said, Jezebel was the one stirring him up. Right? But notice it says there was none like unto Ahab. Go ahead.
And he did very abominably in following idols, all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
So he was following idols and false gods, the gods of the Amorites. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly.
So when he heard all these things that Elijah told him, when he said, you're going to be destroyed, your house is going to be destroyed, your wife is going to be eaten by dogs, right? This is what he did. Ahab heard those words, and he rent his clothes, right? He tore his clothes up, and he put on sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and laid in sackcloth. So have you ever done one of those what is it called, like potato sack races when you were younger?
Yeah.
You know, that material that's so itchy, and that's that sackcloth, right? So that's him humbling himself, because you have to understand, as a king, I'm sure he was wearing 100% silk and the nicest cotton and linen and all of those things, right? So he tore that up, and he put on sackcloth, and he started fasting, and went softly, right? In other words, like he humbled himself. You know how a prideful person is all talking like they're Conor McGregor or something like that, right? He went softly. So then let's see what happened.
And the word of Yahweh came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbled himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house.
So there was none as wicked as Ahab, but he sincerely humbled himself, right? The Most High even said, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? He humbled himself down, and he fasted. And then the Most High said, okay, I'm not going to bring the evil upon him in these days, but in his son's days later on, I'm going to bring it upon his house. Because he said, I'm going to destroy your house, right? But since Ahab humbled himself, he didn't have to go through that at that point in time, right? So another reason, like we just read there, is, basically to humble yourself before the Most High. When you know you've done wickedly, right, and you're trying to get right, and you know, man, I really did wrong before the Most High, it's a humbling process to, okay, I'm gonna fast, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, right? Because anybody and probably everybody has prayed and asked the Most High for forgiveness. Even people that are now, they may be atheists, they may be whatever religion, I guarantee you at one point in time, we've all, oh man, I messed up. Please help me out. Please forgive me. So again, putting a little bit of work behind that, fasting, humbling yourself can help you out, right? If you're doing it in sincerity. Can I fast for a wife? Actually go to Nehemiah. Let me see. No, I wrote it down. Nehemiah 1 and 1 through 4. Or it's better to fast for more wisdom, because we in these last days. Oh, okay, Khan. I thought you meant like for your wife, like you already had a wife, but you mean like to get a wife. So you can for specific, for like asking for something, you know, But again, it's all going to be according to the Most High's timing. You know what I mean?
So, Laki, if I may ask, or maybe you might want to ask yourself, why do you want a wife?
Calm, definitely. If you want to get after you get that, if you want to get Tobit 8 and 7,
Definitely.
right? Fasting for wisdom as well. I mean, you can, but I'll tell you the scripture to pull out right now.
You can put it in the chat. I'll pull it up.
Okay, come. Right, there's specific instructions on how to get wisdom. So I mean, fasting, you can. There's nowhere that says you shouldn't, but the Most High already gave us instructions on how to get wisdom. So I would say fasting for it.
What was it?
Right.
Salakia?
So like
what?
what?
What was Tobit?
8 and 7, not
Come.
8 and 7. So yeah, like the brother said, I would ask yourself, why do you want a wife? Right? Because that's a big indicator as to whether or not the Most High is going to give you that. Right?
Sometimes you might be praying for something else, and maybe you're praying for your path to be straight away or clear of distraction. Perhaps that wife might be that, by the Most High, to keep you focused, might allow you to man up, might who knows, the Most High knows his workings, so you just gotta pray for his will to be done.
Come. If you want to give me Psalm 37 and 4 as well.
Come.
I'll read this real quick. So this is Tobit 8 and 7. It says, "Now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore mercifully ordain that we may become aged together." Right? So some people, some men want a wife just so they can have sex. Right? And if that's the reason why, then that's for lust. Right? You have to want to take her uprightly. Like the brother said, I can definitely say that my rib, for example, like the scriptures say, she is a tower against death, right? In certain ways, to where, like before, I mean, I know it sounds bad, but I could have gotten multiple females. You know what I mean? Like not in the truth. When I wasn't in the truth, I knew a lot of females that I could hang out with and get with them if I wanted to. And now that I have a wife, right, that keeps me from doing that. You know what I mean?
Come.
If you want to get Sirach 26 and 22 as well, Bob Kashaw.
Come.
So going back to your question, so like the brother said, it can't be for lust, right? It has to be uprightly. If you want a wife because you believe she's going to be that tower against death, and like the brother Jomar said, and me and him can attest to this, teaching a woman also helps you because it helps you learn, right? So, or is it better to fast for wisdom because we're in the last days? So if you can read this real quick.
It's Sirach 1 and 26. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee.
So as long as you're keeping the commandments, the Most High is going to continue to give you wisdom, right? So there might be some commandments that you aren't even aware of yet. And if you're not keeping them, well, then guess what? The Most High is going to hide back a little bit of that wisdom from you because you're still not keeping those commandments, right? So the all of Yahushai's everything that he did, learning that, because he's a perfect example, of course, is always profitable. But if you desire wisdom, you also need to get in the Torah. And I remember reading the Torah multiple times over the years, and then I would find a law, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that was a law. You know what I mean? So if you desire wisdom, keep the commandments. You're gonna have to be in the Torah, right? And know it so that you can keep it in the first place.
Sirach 26 and 22. And harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband.
A harlot, a whore, a hoe is accounted as spittle, accounted as spit, right? But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband, right? So a wife can be protection, just like we know many times. I've done many lessons on it, being more valuable than gold. The lesson on husbandry, a bunch of lessons. We know the man is supposed to be the protector, right? He's supposed to be the leader. But there's certain times where the woman is actually a tower against death to her husband, right? Like the example I gave you earlier. Or another example is, I remember when I was first coming in the truth, and I've said this before, I remember this one specific time I made this big old meal, and I sat down, I was about to eat, and then my rib walked in, and she was like, what are you doing? It's Sabbath. And I was like, oh my God. And I looked at the food, and I was like, man, it was a bunch of food, right? And I was like, man, I had to throw it away, right? But think about it. Back in the days, you would have been put to death for that, right? So that she literally would have saved me from death at that point in time, right? Another example, not too long ago, there was a sister that I was thinking about courting, and I asked my rib what she thought, things of that nature, and she kind of thought about it for a while, she talked to her, she was looking through her profile and stuff, and she was like, you know what, these couple little things seem off. And long story short, it was off. It was off. And we found out through time, through a couple of weeks, that things were off, right? That's another example of her being a tower against death. Because imagine me bringing someone into my house that's wicked, right? She definitely was a tower against death. But if you want to go ahead and read that one out.
Psalms 37 and 4. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
So you said, can you fast for a wife? If you delight in the Most High, keep studying, keep praying, fasting, all of these things, eventually on his own time, he's going to give you the desires of your heart, right? And his time is more perfect than my time, your time, any of ours, right? Let's go back to Nehemiah and get a couple more examples of reasons to fast.
With Nehemiah 1 and 1. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. And it came to pass in the month of Chisleu, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the palace, that Hanani, one of the brethren, came, and he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem.
Okay, so there was some left of the captivity, and Nehemiah was asking about them, right? He was asking about concerning Jerusalem, concerning Israel.
And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire.
So he was asking about the Israelites that were left of the captivity, right? And they told him, hey, they're in great affliction and reproach, right? The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. So they were going through afflictions. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept and mourned certain days and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven.
So now Nehemiah, as a matter of fact, if you want to give me Matthew 10 and 44. Matthew 10 and 44. So Nehemiah started fasting and praying for his brethren that were in captivity, that were going through affliction, right? So you can actually pray for other people that are going through things too, right? How many, I mean, I'll be honest, I've never fasted for somebody else. How many people have fasted for somebody else, right? That's really loving, a good example of loving your neighbor, right? Salaka, it's let me see what it is. 10 and 1 second, not bear with me.
Daniela, Matthew 6:33, in regards to what the brother was talking about. But seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Khan, seeking the kingdom first. All praises.
Matthew 23 and 11, not 23 and 11. So let me go back to that real quick. So Khan, seeking the kingdom first, right? Going back to what the other brother had said, you know, or it's better to fast for more wisdom because we're in the last days. Wisdom is the thing that's going to get us through, right? Wisdom is the thing that's going to get us through. So you have to have enough wisdom in the first place to get a wife, right? And seeking the kingdom, seeking wisdom is seeking the kingdom, right? Seeking wisdom is seeking the kingdom. So go ahead, Art.
Khan. This is Matthew 23:11. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant.
So he that is greatest among you, Yahusha said, the greatest one is the one that is servant, is the servant to all, is what it says in the other scripture, right? So when Nehemiah heard that those left of the captivity were still going through great affliction, right, and reproach, and Jerusalem was being broken down, right, burned with fire, what did he do? He sat down and wept. He cried and mourned certain days and fasted and prayed before Yahweh, right? That's one way to definitely serve your brethren, right? And like it says right here, he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. Nehemiah was great in the sight of the Most High. And what was he doing for his people? He was serving them by praying for them, by mourning for them, by fasting for them, right? So let's go to Isaiah 58. Oh no, Salaki, we'll get that last. Go to Luke 2 and 37.
Khan.
I think it goes on a little bit. Let me see. Luke 2 and 37. Con 37 and 38, Baba Kashaw. Right, and this kind of goes along with Nehemiah. Nehemiah was fasting for them that because they were going through afflictions, right?
This is Luke chapter 2 and 37. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day.
So there was a widow, right, of about 84 years. So a score is 20. So that means she was 84 years old, which departed not from the temple, but served Yahweh with fasting and praying night and day, right? She was fasting and praying.
And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem.
So she would speak to the Most High of all them that were looking for redemption in Jerusalem, right? So she was giving thanks to him, right? She was serving him. She was really showing like devotion to him, but she was also doing it for others, for those that looked for redemption in Jerusalem, right? So she was fasting for a lot of reasons. She was fasting and praying night and day, which shows her devotion, right? And then it says, and she coming in that instant gave thanks. She was also giving thanks. And she was also speaking of him to all the people looking for redemption. So fasting for her people, right? Which again goes back to Matthew 23 and 11. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. The Most High puts a very high value on people being humble, right? Because it takes a humble spirit in order to humble yourself down and fast, not for yourself, but for the Most High's people, for others instead of yourself, right? And that goes back to or matter of fact, if you can give me Daniel, I think it's 9 and 18. Let me see. It's Daniel 9 and 18. Daniel 9 and 18. Because like we read about Ahab, right? He was wicked. But the Most High, why did the Most High have mercy on Ahab? He humbled himself down and he had mercy on him. Was it because Ahab was so righteous? No, it said there was none like Ahab, right? He was the king of Israel, committing all this wickedness, leading other people to be wicked. So then why did the Most High have mercy on him? Why didn't he destroy him like Elijah had said? He's going to destroy you in your house. Jezebel's going to be eaten by the dogs, which that still happened, right? But the Most High had mercy on him.
Daniel 9 and 18. Oh my God, incline thine ear and hear, open thine eyes and behold our desolations, and the city which is called by thy name.
So he's praying and he said, oh Yahweh, incline your ear, like please listen to my prayer. David started his prayers like that as well too. He would say, hear my prayer, right? Open thine eyes and behold our desolations. Go ahead.
For we do not present our supplications before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercies.
So we're not fasting saying, oh, I'm being so righteous by fasting, right? A supplication is like asking for something. I'm not asking you to see my fast because I'm so righteous. It's because of your great mercy. The only reason the Most High has mercy on us is because he has great mercy. It's not because we're so righteous, right? It's like the scriptures say, all of our righteousness is as filthy rags, right? If you took up all of our righteousness and compared it to unrighteousness, we'd still be filthy, right? Even striving for perfection. So all of these things that we're doing knowing that the Most High has mercy. And like the scriptures say in Romans 9, I will have mercy on who I'll have mercy. Khan. So it's you always have to remember that it's a humbling process to fast, right? And you'll feel it. Trust me. For like some of you who haven't fasted before, you're gonna understand that it's a very humbling process, right? So let's go to, you know what, I'm gonna try it one more time to pull something up real quick. If it starts getting choppy up, just let me know and I'll get off of it. So if you want to read that while I get it.
This is Romans chapter 9, verse 15. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
the Most High is going to have mercy on whoever he's going to have mercy on, right? And in this context, it's talking about Israel and Esau, or Jacob and Esau, but this goes with anything, right? We do not present our supplications before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercies. When you're fasting, it's because you're asking the Most High of mercy, whether it be for yourself, whether it be for your sins, whether it be for your brethren's sins, whether it be for, like the brother had asked, can I fast for, I think he said for a wife, right? I thought he meant like for a wife he had. You can also fast for them as well, right? As a matter of fact, we'll finish with Matthew 17, which we've gone over many times. Matthew 17, and we'll read a little bit more than we normally do when we read that. 14 through 21.
Matthew 17,
14 through 21. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Because you have to understand, we like the brother had said, can I fast for a wife? I thought he meant for like a wife he has. You can fast for other people as well, right? You can fast and ask for help for them, especially a wife. If y'all are one, you're one flesh, right? Let's say your wife is going through some things, she's battling some spirits, right? And you can't get her to fast. I mean, that would be very, very expedient for her to fast. But if she can't, or for whatever reason, let's say she's pregnant and she can't, or let's say she has a certain medical condition and she can't, well, then you can fast for her, like Nehemiah did, like the woman did in Luke, what was it, chapter 2, I believe? You can fast for other people. I'm going to pull this up real quick and then we'll read that up. Can you see that out?
Yes.
Okay, so it says fasting for 72 hours can reset your entire immune system. The source featured research by Walter Longo of the USC Leonard Davis School on how fasting for 3 days can improve a person's health. The 6-month study was done on subjects going through chemotherapy. So what they found in this, I think it was this particular study, is that it actually helped the patients go into remission, which is where the cancer is no longer like active, right? But there's also many benefits from your immune system basically regenerating, right? It can help out with all different types of illnesses. So let's go ahead and read. Go ahead.
This is Matthew 17 and 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For ofttimes he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Yahusha answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahusha rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour.
So the man brought his son to Yahusha, and he said, look, your disciples couldn't get the spirit off of him, right? So Yahusha rebuked the devil, right? And he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. So now Yahusha took the devil, the evil spirit off of him.
Then came the disciples to Yahusha apart and said, Why could we not cast him out? And Yahusha said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting.
So they asked Yahushua, how come we couldn't cast the evil spirit off of him? Right? And then Yahushua said, because of your unbelief. So they didn't have enough faith, number one. Right? It's a couple different things here. Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, a tiny little bit of faith, right? But sincere faith, because anybody can say I believe and this, that, and the other, right? But it's all about sincerity with the Most High. Just like with Ahab when he fasted, they had just finished saying there was none like him. He was wicked, being more wicked than everybody else. But guess what? He sincerely humbled himself. And that's why the Most High said, seest thou how Ahab has humbled himself? It was sincere. So the same thing here, he's saying because of your unbelief. You just need a tiny little, the size of a grain of a mustard seed. Mustard seeds are tiny, right? If you had just that much, you shall say unto this mountain, that mountain just represents any big thing. You in the world, they'll think it's a huge task or a huge thing to accomplish, right? In this case, it was an evil spirit. It says, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Right? So he said you got to have belief. But then verse 21, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. Okay, so in Matthew, the 4th chapter, I believe that was one of the first ones we read. Matthew, the 4th chapter. How long did Yahushua fast for? 40 days, right? That built him up even more. Of course, he's the son of the Most High, right? But he still battled with fleshly thoughts. Look at what he said on the cross, right? Eli, Eli, asabachthani, why, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Right? That's because the flesh, he was battling the flesh, going through all these things, right? But him fasting and praying, I don't know how many times, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you read about him praying, right? He removed himself and prayed. He went to the wilderness and prayed. He departed and prayed. He was always in prayer. Like the brother had brought out earlier, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing, right? So it says, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. So if you have a spirit on you, or let's say somebody in your household has a spirit and you want to pray for them, that fasting is really going to make a big difference in the amount of power you're able to build up in the spirit as well, right? So let me just read real quick. So these were some of the reasons why we read the fasting, right? So we had a Leviticus 23, which was the Day of Atonement. Ezra, the 8th chapter, was about guidance. 1 Samuel, the 7th chapter, was for repentance. 1 Samuel, the 31st chapter, was for grief when Saul died. 2 Chronicles 20 was they wanted protection and deliverance, right? Because they were going up against a great multitude of people. 1 Kings 21 was to humble yourself before the Most High, which was Ahab. Nehemiah, the 1st chapter, was basically for others. Like they had concern for others because they were still in the captivity and going through all these afflictions, right? Then Luke, the 2nd chapter, was the woman who fasted for the souls that were seeking after the Most High, but it was also to give thanks, right? And then we also went over Sirach 34. Actually, let's finish with that. If we would, oh, you know what? I'll just go back up to it. Sirach 34. But you know what? There's too many comments, so let me go back up. It's
Gotcha.
34 and 26.
34, 26.
34, 26. So anybody that is thinking of, I'm gonna say it again, just in case you weren't here at the beginning. Anybody that is thinking of fasting, it's got to be in the right spirit, of course, right? In sincerity, and also you got to understand that you can't fast for something and then go turn around and do it. Just go and do it again, right?
This is the rod, 34, 26. So is it with a man that fasteth for his sins and goeth again and doeth the same, who will hear his prayer? Or what doth his humbling profit him?
What is it going to profit you if you fast for your sins and then you go do the same thing, right? It says, who will hear his prayer? Who's going to hear your prayer? That's like if let's say you have a wife and she goes and cheats on you, and then she comes back and, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sincerely sorry, right? I had the spirits on me, blah blah blah, whatever. And then she goes and does it again. Are you going to want to hear from her again? Right? So think about that when it comes to the Most High. What doth his humbling profit him? Right? So you got to do it in sincerity, in humility, for the right reason. And also, like I said at the beginning, be practical with it. If you start having heat flashes, you might want to have something to eat. Like the brother said, maybe go for some fruit, because your sugar level is probably low, right? I know a sister that had told me about that, and that's what it was. Or maybe go for some water, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe go for the pulse diet. That's also something we went over. It was Daniel 1. It was like 8 through 16.
Yeah, come.
Okay, come. Daniel 1, 8 through 16. If you want to do the pulse way of fasting, which, like I said, in the Hebrew, it really says vegetables or things that are sown. So vegetables and fruit, or just vegetables. Or if you want to go take it even a little bit farther, just do the juice from vegetables, right? A liquid diet. Which, if you look up, I was gonna pull it up, but y'all can look it up as well. Just look up a liquid diet. Some people do it for 72 hours, for 7 days, whatever the case may be. That also helps you to build up your immune system, and it also is a good thing for losing weight. Let's say you eat too much. If you're gluttonous, right? And you wanna start eating less, that would be a good way to start. Go on a liquid diet for a few days. I think when I had read about it, it said you'll lose like 3 to 4 pounds a week. Normally, you lose 3 to 4 pounds a week on a liquid diet. So I mean, let's say you do that for 2 weeks, or you do it for a month, intermittently. That's a good amount of weight you'll be able to lose, right? And not only that, fasting from the food that we're addicted to, because people do get addicted to food, right? The chemicals in certain foods are addicting. That's why you crave it so much.
Carbohydrates.
Carbs. There's a man, I just read about it too. I forgot what it's called. There's some kind of enzyme or hormone in cheese that people get addicted to. There's a hormone in it, and people get addicted to it, and that's why it's so hard to get off of it. Sugar as well. Sugar, if you look it up, sugar is more addicting than cocaine.
Check this out. I'm gonna comment it on the YouTube.
Cool.
Let me know if it shows up.
Okay, there it goes. Oh yeah, cheese contains casein. That's what it is. A dairy protein that releases casomorphines. So we've all heard of morphine, right? One of the most addicting painkillers. So cheese contains casein, a dairy protein that releases casomorphins, which are plant compounds that trigger dopamine production in your brain. This makes cheese mildly addictive. So dopamine also is triggered or is released when you smoke weed. It's also released when you drink alcohol, right? And that's why, like, people will say, well, weed is not addicting. There's no addictive stuff in it, which now we know with all the genetically modified weed and the cross strains and all the chemicals, it is addicting. But back in the days when it was more natural, people would say it's not addicting, right? But what you get addicted to is the fact that it triggers morphine, or it triggers dopamine in your brain, which is, it makes you happy, basically. So you crave that feeling, right, over time.
You know what that's called? Chasing the dragon.
Khan. Exactly. So Brother Daniel Allah said, Khan, I cut almost 50 pounds from January to May from a lot of water fasting. Khan, I'll praise the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yeah, and a lot of people. So how are you doing the water fasting? Not, if you don't mind me asking. Like, how long were you doing it for? Because like I said before, when I would teach at the MMA gym, there was a dude that did bodybuilding, and I don't know if you're familiar with that. I had no idea about that, right? But they would do like a bulking phase where they get as big as they can, and then they would do a cutting phase where they try and get like more cut, you know what I mean, more defined, I guess.
Yeah.
And, during that phase, they would do intermittent fasting, where you eat for 8 hours of the day. So say you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you eat at 8, then you can eat again at 12, then you eat your last meal at 4. So that was already your 8 hours. Wow. Now the next 16 hours, you can only drink water. That's it, right? And I've been doing that on and off consistently too. And I mean, you feel better, and you feel it's a way for your body. You're giving your body a break from your digestive system, your digestive tract, just working and working and working and working. Because if you're eating breakfast and then you have a snack, and then you eat lunch, and then you have a snack, and then you eat dinner, and then you have a snack, and then you're gonna go to sleep, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you eat something, you're never giving your body a time to rest, right? You're never giving your body a time to fast, which is why they call it break fast. You're breaking the fast again, right? So the brother said, I'd eat real light once in the morning and once at night with only water in between, and some days only water or only one meal. Calm. So like the brother Jomar had said earlier as well, I mean, we're all going to do it a little bit differently. It's going to work differently, but just cutting down, fasting in any way, shape, or form is going to benefit you, right? There's some times where you're going to feel like, okay, today I'm not going to eat nothing. It may be like, you know what? I messed up. I sinned and did this. I'm going to repent for it. And I'm asking Most High through this fast to forgive me. Or it can just be, you know what? I'm going to fast just to try and be more in the spirit. I'm going to kill the flesh. Again, like the brother said earlier, I'm going to kill the flesh more and more. Because you are killing your flesh when you're fasting. Literally, it says it's breaking down your cells and rebuilding your immune system, right? So if you want to do some days only water, I do that as well. Or it'll just be, you know what? Once a week, I'm just going to do all water today. Or once a week, I'm going to do all just juice and water today, right? You have anything else you want to add to that, Art?
Nah, not really. You covered all the bases, and the water for the Daniela for breaking that down as far as how you actually managed to do that. That's a lot of weight out. Congratulations. All praises.
50 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Shit, I only weigh about 150. I'd be a That'd be a stick.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah. But yeah, like the brother brought out a little while ago though, cheese contains casein. So in any type of food that you eat has some types of, unless you're getting like non-GMO certified organic, and even then sometimes you don't know if that's true, right? Even if you're eating, but if that's what you're getting and that's all you're eating, you're gonna get more used to that. Your body's gonna get more used to it. But at the same time, as soon as you start doing it, your body's gonna crave sugar. Your body's gonna crave cheese, right? Your body's gonna crave. I can't remember who it was. My rib was telling me someone quit in her family. I think it might have been her oldest sister. She's one of seven, so she's got a lot of family members. But I think it was her oldest sister one time quit sugar, right? So when she did that, she actually started getting what is it called? Like night sweats. Like she was coming off of drugs. Because she would eat sugar so much, she would drink nothing but soda, snacks, candy, all that. Right. So it really is gonna help you. You are what you eat, like they say, right? You eat a bunch of junk, you're gonna think a bunch of junk thoughts. Your body's gonna turn into junk. You're gonna get overweight, right? The healthier you eat, the healthier your body will be, the healthier your mind will be, right? Okay, so the brother said, Khan, I'm 6'5", but it was to get my athleticism back. The lockdown had me eating too much. And that's the thing, like people see the lockdown and everything, and they think it's just like, it's like it was either in China or Japan, the suicide rate went up like I don't know how many hundreds of percent because of the lockdown. Like the lockdown is no joke when it comes to, if you're not in the spirit, right? If you don't see it as an opportunity to get closer to the Most High, to gain more wisdom, to study more, to pray more, to learn more, like most people, right? They're just going to use it. Like the brother Jomar said earlier, instead of I could go watch Netflix all day, right? Or I could be in the spirit, I can fast, I can pray, I can learn. With the whole lockdown thing, if you're not in the right spirit, not only when it comes to the scriptures, but also taking care of your temple, right? Because it's like it says in 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17, we are the temple and the Holy Spirit dwells in us. If you defile your temple, the Most High is going to destroy you. He'll destroy your health. He can destroy your memory. He can destroy all different ways, right? So with that, I guess we'll go ahead and finish it. Like I said, if you got any more questions or anything like that on fasting, you can hit up the brother Jomar or me as well. But to be honest with y'all, I'm trying not to be on Instagram as much. I have more than 100 unread messages on my Instagram. I don't know if I'll ever get back to all of them, to be honest with y'all. I have a lot of stuff going on right now, with my business, with family, with studying, with teaching my household, with getting some things in order with them, with what's coming, right? And just a lot of stuff going on. So it's Salakia if I haven't got back to any of your messages. But I got to put my family and our salvation first, and Most High willing, maybe on Sabbath, that's what I try and do. I try and get back to people through the messages, right? But you have anything else to add?
Nah, the water for taking the time to put the precepts together. All praises.
Khan, all praise the Most High. So Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. To you, as always, I appreciate you. And to everybody else who was on here, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah, Danya Allah, and everybody else who's on here. Y'all stay in the spirit, stay prayed up, and stay getting as much wisdom as you can. It's like Isaiah 33:6 says, knowledge and wisdom is going to be the stability of our times, right? Physically, mentally, spiritually, got to be striving to live by wisdom at all times, right? So with that, I'll give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the Father and the Son in the Paleo Hebrew tongue. Shalom.
Shalom.